Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for story time with Carlos Osuita. For Fear Inner, they ask me about this article, and the article is Reports from Breitbart.com. Hundreds of Russian Syrian fighters retreat from Libyan capital. Carlos responds, I would caution everybody about taking anything at face value during this particular period in the Middle East. For one, the Turks are allegedly providing technical and logistical support while their Syrian jihadis are doing the fighting. The Turkish-backed jihadis have zero fighting skills. Al-Qaeda in Syria, now called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, steadily retreated from the Turkish National Front for Liberation, a coalition of the worst jihadis in Syria. The jihadis that Turkey backed were indistinguishable from the Islamic State. When the National Front for Liberation had been drawn deep inside northwestern Syria, HTS, again, that's the new Al-Qaeda, launched 21 simultaneous ground offensives. From January 9th to 10th, 2020, the National Front for Liberation was essentially exterminated. These were terrorists who made beheading videos. Abdullah al-Issa was a 19-year-old Syrian Arab army soldier who Harakat Nur al-Din al-Zenki murdered. So I'm going to share my screen now, and we're gonna have picture time. All right, so here are the pictures of Abdullah al-Issa, a 19-year-old Syrian Arab army soldier, okay? There he is right there. Notice that he looks like a child. He has a condition that makes him look permanently like a child, but he's 19. So here are the pictures of them torturing him. This is the terrorist group. And these are the pictures of them torturing this 19-year-old Syrian army soldier. They taunted him in multiple sessions over several days before cutting off his head. The Iranians had delivered al-Issa to Zenki from a Syrian military hospital. John Brennan's CIA armed and trained Harakat Nur al-Din al-Zenki, calling them moderate Islamists. Zenki's desperate flight to Afrin was stopped by air power. Of course, there are no known terrorist groups with air power. This man hurriedly ducked away from the camera as the totally intact convoy was being filmed. I have no idea what he's wearing. Here he is. What is this? It's a strange outfit. Please note the strange outfit. Okay, moving right along. My best guess is that he's outfitted in head-to-toe armor made of non-Newtonian material. In the past, armor had a limit to how much it could stop. The impact of the bullet would destroy the plate so that it couldn't be used again, and the bullet would still cause blunt force trauma. See? Plate destroyed, blunt force trauma on soldier. Theoretically, non-Newtonian armor can stop any round because the material locks up and distributes the kinetic energy around the body, preventing contact with the soldier. If a man can remain on his feet when hit with a .50 caliber bullet, he can keep on running. I've found other examples of totally unknown full body armor that's soft. These suits were used in Syria and Iraq. They're worn when a unit makes a frontal attack. Observe. Very strange. If the bullets can't even injure you, it means that you can run directly into the fire and kill the people shooting at you. There's no literature whatever about these bodysuits. I'm sure they're meant to be worn for only a short time. So, the Turkish-backed jihadis were all killed, as in, down to the last man. In Libya, Obama and Hillary and Samantha Power overthrew Gaddafi and then left. The first thing the Libyans did was start massacring black people. Libya ended up with two governments. Of course, the UN recognizes the government full of Islamists. The other government is secular. General Khalifa Haftar is head of the secular Libyan National Army, LNA. Haftar is an American citizen. He tried several times to overthrow Gaddafi, and he has close contacts in the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency. The Libyan National Army is under the command of the internationally recognized House of Representatives. So, the global community recognizes both governments in Libya. Obama and Hillary created a catastrophe that seemed to have no solution. The key to all this is there's no genuine combat footage coming from Libya. It's very likely that everything we're seeing is kabuki meant to rid the country of Islamists. Egypt, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia support the House of Representatives, while the Turks support the Government of National Accord. The US talks to both sides. So I think that what's happening in Libya is what's happening in Syria, Yemen, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The locals are working it out under the deception of war. You need a balance. In order for there to be peace, both sides have to be satisfied that they didn't lose. Now, this approach to war doesn't require huge numbers of people to pull off the deception, especially in the Middle East. They're all used to being paid to ride victoriously into towns and claim victory. Remember the greatest betrayal of an ally in American history? Trump pulled out, what, 25 Americans from northeast Syria, and the press fired itself into space on jets of projectile diarrhea. Genocide! No, nothing of the kind. Before the Syrian civil war, the Syrian Kurds had no rights. People like Tulsi Gabbard claim that we should be working with Assad, when in fact, he's a literal Nazi. The Ba'ath Party is a descendant of National Socialism. So we pulled out. And within 48 hours, the Kurds and Assad had made peace. And Syrian Arab army soldiers appeared on the border with Turkey overnight, planting the flag. Assad agreed to both a semi-autonomous region for the Kurds and foreign protection. I read the agreement. That thing took years to negotiate. The Syrian Kurds and Syrian Arabs were in Saudi Arabia or the UAE or even Turkey, working out their differences under the cover of fake fighting. Only a handful of people knew that the fighting was fake. In the past, we were given a false choice, war or peace. No, there's a third way. Symbolic war. Humans like to fight. We've tried everything to prevent war: disarmament, deterrence, mutually assured destruction, smart weapons. None of it worked. So now, when the real wars start, specialists go in and exterminate the ones who refuse to stop, and then it becomes symbolic. Both sides work it out while pretending to be going at it tooth and nail. This is why we will always need powerful armed forces. Some people have to be killed, but not conscripts or idiots in jalopy tanks or soldiers full of worms. This is how we're going to fight for the foreseeable future. I know things about Yemen that I will never divulge. A long time ago, a bigwig sent me an email asking if I could look at a video. Then he asked if he could call so that nothing would be in writing. I'm sure there were tons of people listening in. He isn't American. So I explained what happened in the video, and he was so impressed that he told me very matter-of-factly what was happening in Yemen. But I know you already knew that, he said. And I did. But it was nice to have it confirmed. That was 2016. I'm sure everyone on the phone waited to see if I'd blab. I didn't. And now nobody would care. They're all reading Donald Trump's tweets. But again, I don't take anything from the Middle East at face value. Or North Korea. From Breitbart.com, set forth at the meeting were new policies for further increasing the nuclear war deterrence of the country. From Breitbart, Kim Jong-un resurfaces for meeting on nuclear war deterrence. Ah, wow. The meeting is noteworthy because it shows North Korea's intention to continue developing its nuclear arsenal as opposed to progressing peace talks with the United States. No, that's not all what was said. Not at all what was said. The meeting was about deterring nuclear war. What does that tell you? Kim is playing the world like a virtuoso violinist. Don't take anything at face value. Trust the Trump. All is well on every level.